Hey team, welcome to another week of Weekly Advantage. Hope your weekend was great and that you're just seeing this beautiful weather that's going on outside and that you're able to enjoy it and that you're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. You know, with the cases going down of COVID, it's been very exciting. I think we're all feeling that sense of excitement that things may get somewhat back to normal at some point in the near future. But today I want to talk about communication. And there's a quote that I often think about, and it was written by Bernard Shaw. I wrote it down here, and it says, "The single biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it has actually taken place." You may be like, well, what does that even mean? And oftentimes when we communicate something, we communicate it through our own perspective, like how we intend the message to go forward. What we have to do is think about the receiver in that communication. How are they hearing what it is that you're trying to say? And so as I think about it, through the whole COVID thing, we were having like daily calls and we were saying things on what we had to do. Yet when we go into the facilities, sometimes we don't see what was talked about or what maybe we put in a written policy happening. And so it's so important for each of us to look at what we're communicating, how we're communicating, and to be able to communicate it in a variety of ways to assure that we're all on the same page. So when it comes to communication, I think lately I've been hearing maybe some little irritations along the way on, I told people, I've explained this, I've said it in a meeting, and I've been hearing some of that. And I guess what I really would love to get across today is that getting feedback on what's being communicated and being able to just check to see if what was communicated was clearly understood on the other end. And I hope that makes sense to you. So as you're in meetings or as people are talking about things, if you have questions, that's probably the best way to get clarity if something doesn't make sense, or if you feel like the communication isn't very clear. Definitely ask questions on that. And then as leaders, if you've communicated something and people aren't doing what it is that you said, instead of getting frustrated, it's so important that you try to get some clarity and to assure that there is understanding, and just to be sure that the communication, the outcome of the communication, is understood by the receivers. It's also important that when making decisions, and I'm going to talk mostly about personnel changes, that you communicate that with the people that those decisions will impact. And so, as an example, let's say that there's a decision that a manager in one building is going to go to another building. That is so important to communicate before such a change happens, and even as such a change is in process, that both of the administrators and the department leaders are talked to before the decision is made. Because each of us, when we're trying to make a decision on personnel in particular, we're trying to solve a problem. But on the other hand, solving our problem causes somebody else to then have a problem. They have to fill that position. And getting people involved in those types of decisions and those types of discussions helps, number one, it's courtesy. We should just be doing that anyway. But number two, it helps in planning. Because especially today where staffing is so hard, being able to anticipate openings and to be able to coordinate when changes are going to occur is really, really important for the continuity of the business. So, so when it comes to, I'm going to be interviewing this person for this role, so that means that they're going to be coming out of this role, and going to this role, that you not only talk to the administrator or the director of nursing, but if there's a corporate counterpart, you should involve them in those discussions as well, because it means that now we have to fill an opening. So I just encourage you to talk about that amongst the affected parties, because it's really like a domino effect. So I move this person from here to here, but then there is a whole other impact on the organization that could cause some problems. And so, like, even recently we had some problems where we didn't have RD coverage at a building, and it just caused a whole downward slope of issues that we had to deal with. But that communication and having lack of RD support would have helped us to solve that problem and then not get into the other issues that we ended up getting into. So I just want to be sure that we are communicating with each other. We are a team. We're all of one mind and of one judgment. And, we want to be sure that we're all working together in the same direction, and that if things don't go perfectly, that we talk about it. And instead of complaining about it, that we talk about it. Because, the Bible tells us that a house divided will fall. And we don't want to be divided. We want to be one. We want to be one together. We want to all be working in the same direction. And with all the amazing work that has been going on in this last year, and that is really, we've been really moving forward this year, I hate to see communication as being an area of angst. So, I guess in summary, let's really look at how we're communicating, how much we're communicating. Better to over-communicate than under-communicate. And, let's just think about the decisions we make, particularly about personnel, what the impact will be on others. And let's just be real sensitive to that. All right. Have a great week this week, guys. Appreciate you all very much. God bless. Bye-bye now.